Hi everyone, my name is Arielle. Welcome back to my channel. I am just hopping back on the trail with all my friends behind me. We're crossing the Highway 58 overpass right now. I just got dropped off. It's like 6:30 in the morning and our bags are very heavy. We have 6 days of food, 4 liters of water, and a hot day with some climbing ahead of us. So wish us luck. Time to hike.
Tout ce que je touche se transforme en or.
Back on trail after a little breakfast break. We did about 7 miles so far and like 2,500 feet of vert. Something that feels like kind of the standard is anytime you leave town, you almost always have a big climb back out. It's like the trail takes you down into the valley to dump you in town, and then you have to climb back out of the valley to get back to like where the trail meanders. So pretty good climb today, and it is supposed to be the hottest day of this week that we're out here. Yesterday was the hottest day of the week, so it was a good day for a rest day, but today is not much cooler. It's still supposed to be in the mid to high 80s. So we tried to get the big climb done early with, which feels really good. And yeah, we're gonna try to average around 22 miles a day for this section because it's 135 miles between Tehachapi and Kennedy Meadows. So yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of 20+ mile days on the trail so far, but doing 6 of them in a row back to back will definitely be a first. The only like kind of consolation of all of that is, besides that huge climb that we did today, the rest of the days are more rolling. Like, there is vert, don't get me wrong, but it's not like huge climbs, which does make the miles go a little bit easier. It was kind of annoying to have 6 days worth of food and 4 liters of water to do that climb, but it's fine. At least we have fresh legs. So yeah, plan is to hike now, probably mostly to the first water source. It is about 10 miles from here, so we may have to have lunch between. And this water source is our only water source in the first 35 miles. And it says that it fills water at a rate of 7 minutes per liter. So we may be there for a while. But yeah, that's the update. Just gonna get hiking. It's actually not terribly hot yet. I think it's just because there's little pockets of shade here, but I have a feeling it's going to be very warm. Okay, time to hike.
So it's like 8:30 p.m. and I feel like I always mean to update you guys more throughout the day, but like sometimes the day just like totally gets away from me. We did 21 or just shy of 21 miles today, and actually got to camp super early, which is really nice. I like having time to like kind of unwind and just eat dinner and relax and do all of that. I'm also like really learning that it works so much better for my body to like do as many of the miles in the first half of the day, like before lunch, and have very little to do after lunch. It feels good for me. So today we had 17 miles to the first water source, and I think when I checked in with you last, I had just like started walking again after breakfast, and after about 5 miles, most of the group wanted to like take a lunch break, and I was just honestly feeling pretty good, so I decided to hike on. And I've also got a lot of questions about like if we always hike all together. Usually we kind of like fan out or get into small groups or hike like solo, just kind of depends on the day. And like a lot of times we'll come together for breaks in big groups or small groups. I don't know, it's just kind of different every single day. And most of the time we camp all together, but not always. And today I really just hiked most of the day alone because I was just, like I said, feeling good, wanted to keep walking. So made it to the water source by like 1:30 and just chilled there for quite a while. It was much better water source than I was expecting. I think I was telling you guys I was nervous that it would be just a little trickle, but there was a big trough underneath, so you could just scoop water. There are long water carries on this stretch. We had, between that last water source and our next one, 19 miles plus a dry camp. So I brought like 4.5 liters, but I only had about 4 miles to do after the water source after lunch today. So it wasn't too bad, even though the water makes my pack very heavy. But yeah, so the plan is to just wake up early and, as usual, get as much miles done in the early part of the day. But luckily, the weather is supposed to be getting a little bit better. Today was the last like hot day, and the temperatures really start to drop off. So that will be really nice. Anyways, that's my update for the day. I'm excited to go to bed, but feeling really good today, which is nice. I kind of got my ass handed to me in that last section, so it feels good to feel good. All right. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow.
See it on the 6 o'clock news. It's now waiting in the mail, addressed to you. It's getting harder and harder to see through the smoke. It's never been easier to overlook. It's getting harder and harder and harder to say these days. But when I see the smile run across your face and the sunrise lights up another day, I believe. I woke up and my whole world changed. You're the kind of love that gives me faith, and I believe. Find it written in the sky. You can't buy a ticket to it tonight. It's getting harder and harder to see what's true, but it's never been easier when I'm with you. Yeah, it's harder and harder and harder to doubt these days. But when I see the smile run across your face and the sunrise lights up another day, I believe. I woke up and my whole world changed. You're the kind of love that gives me faith.
Good morning. It's like probably just before 6 a.m. I'm in this like really beautiful forest. There was like an abrupt change of scenery yesterday in the afternoon after our lunch break at the last spring, and I'm loving it. It feels like we're headed into the mountains, and you can feel like how close we're getting to the Sierra. I realized that I didn't actually talk to you guys yesterday. It wasn't a bad day or anything like that, just pretty uneventful actually. And we did, our 22 miles and just kind of hiked Our hike's usually like dictated by where water sources are, or like our breaks are. So yeah, we ended up at LMS Camp last night, or a couple of us did at least, and camped there. And this next section of the trail is actually a somewhat noteworthy section because there's technically like a 40-mile waterless stretch between LMS Camp and the next water source. There is a pretty well-maintained cache that's generally at Bird Spring, and this year Kelso Road. I don't know if that's standard. So Kelso Road is 7 miles from here. Bird Spring is 22.2. But I have heard some horror stories in the past from people who were banking on that water cache at Bird Spring and it being empty. So it's kind of risky to rely on water caches because there's a finite amount of water there if they're not refilled, and you would be blown away by how fast water can go. Like we've looked at Far Out Guide, and in the morning of a day it says 50 gallons at said water cache, and we get to that water cache by the afternoon and there's like literally nothing left. So if you're watching this for logistical reasons, I know a lot of people watch these vlogs for logistical reasons, just know that this is a section of trail that you may want to plan for this year, or at least as of yesterday. There's a comment saying that there's over 400 gallons at both of these water caches, so it's probably a pretty safe bet. But we weren't sure when we left Tehachapi because it was a couple of days ago. So we have planned with a friend of Stinger's who wanted to do some trail magic for our group to actually meet us at Bird Spring with water and maybe some snacks. I've heard rumors of burgers. So yeah, I think it's just important to note, like, luckily it seems like it's a reliable source this year, even in the crazy bubble where water goes fast. But that's not always the case, and it would suck to show up to that cache with no water and then realize you have like another 18 more miles to hike without any. So all right, I think I'm getting too winded to hike and talk to you guys. So I'm gonna get hiking, but that's my update. All right, let's do it.
Harder to see what's true. It's never been easier when I'm with you. Yeah, it's harder and harder and harder to doubt these days. But when I see the smile run across your face and the sunrise lights up another day, I believe. I woke up and my whole world changed. You're the kind of love that gives me faith, and I believe.
Hello. As you may have been able to pick up from all of the videos from today, it is a very windy day. So instead of setting up camp, we're all just cowboy camping. There's Stinger. Just because it's just, anytime it's super windy, it just doesn't feel worth it to set up your tent in that. Today was more eventful, mostly because of the wind. It was like literally blow you over kind of wind, like more than half the day you're like leaning into the wind with all of your weight. And so yeah, it made, even though the like elevation profile was more chill than other days, it still felt like a really challenging day. And unintentionally, today became my biggest PCT trail day yet. Actually my biggest day with a backpacking backpack ever. So I did 26.4 miles today, which is crazy. It's so exciting. We intended to camp where we had that trail magic, but it was just so windy and exposed, so we had to go up the hill and find a better spot. So we actually walked an additional like 4.5 miles further than we had planned today. And I feel better than expected, which is so awesome. So anyways, I think we're all pretty tired and excited to call it a night. So see you in the morning.
When we were young, we burned like summer suns. Our fears at bay, we made our own way, no stopping us. We never knew the sky beyond the blue. We turned the page, our story became a world brand new. You and I, we have found what we've been missing. You and I, it feels like we're finally living. We are wide awake, it's all so clear. The dreams we held are standing here. You and I, we have found what we've been missing. Open wide, the future's on our side. We'll touch the stars, we'll follow our hearts into the light. Walk with me, and we'll be all we need. Your hand in mine.
So I'm not sure if you can hear how windy it is outside, because I do think the GoPro camera is actually like pretty good at filtering out the wind, but it is so windy. Where our actual tents are is actually kind of protected, which is really nice, but you can just hear the wind blowing all around on the ridge. And when we were coming up, hiking up the ridge to where we're camped tonight, it was like blow you over kind of wind again, kind of like yesterday, but not quite as bad as yesterday. Yesterday was like blow you off the mountain kind of wind, and today was just kind of like, yeah, like, I don't know, in your face. But I think it's been keeping it much cooler. I mean, I have a feeling that this section we've been going through the last couple of days is normally fairly warm, like just judging by like the type of plants that are around. It's definitely more like deserty type plants. But we have actually been kind of chilly, and I think that's the wind is kind of helping keep everything cool. And for me, I mean, I know everyone's a little different, but like for me, I'd rather have the wind than the heat. Like I feel like I just as you guys have seen probably in some of the earlier episodes, I just kind of shut down in the heat. Whereas in the wind, even though it's annoying, I feel like I can like keep hiking. So I feel pretty fortunate actually that we've had that. And yeah, just trying to get down the miles. I think I let you guys know at the beginning of this, it's 135 miles stretch from Tehachapi to Kennedy Meadows if you don't go into Ridgecrest, which we are not. And so we've had to average somewhere between 22 and 23 a day. And so today we did 22. Plan for tomorrow is to do a 24, and then that way we can just have 20 down into town. And then I think we're going to take a double zero in Kennedy Meadows, which we have not done since we started the trail. And I am very, very excited. Honestly though, feeling better than expected. Like, feeling like my body's adjusting to the miles and just not nearly as beat up at the end of the day, which feels really, really good. And also like able to get to camp at a reasonable hour, which means like able to do 23, 22, 24 miles, whatever the day is, before like 4 or 5 p.m. sometimes, which is so cool. But yeah, that's just the update for today. And I think it's supposed to be another windy day tomorrow. But like I said, maybe that's a good thing because it's so much easier to hike when it's not so hot. Good night.
That's how we got in the last problem. Aren't those gorgeous?
Gorgeous.
Good morning. I didn't get a chance to do my evening check-in with you guys yesterday just because we had the most incredible trail magic. So yesterday we did a 24-mile day, and I'd say the group was kind of split between feeling pretty good, all things considered, with how much we've been hiking this week, and then some not so good. Unfortunately, Stinger back there was dealing with some crazy vertigo. We had, like you guys saw, some really gnarly winds, and I think it just kind of messed with her equilibrium. But the silver lining for all of us was when we got to the place we wanted to camp, there was next level trail magic, like steak in the woods with salad and baked beans, and there was sodas and beer and literally everything you could possibly want and then some. So we had just a lovely evening chilling with a big group of people, and honestly all retired to our tents when it got dark and called it a night. So the plan today is to walk the last 20 miles to Kennedy Meadows, which is blowing my mind because that means we're done with the desert. I mean, I think we're actually kind of done now as far as climate goes, but we're officially done today, which is so crazy. As you can hear, we're now walking uphill. We have 2,500 feet of climbing. So I'm gonna go hike. I don't think I can talk anymore. All right, last 20 miles.
I'm tired of it treating. All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious. All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Hey.
Me,
Hey, my bad.
I'm tired of it treating.
No.
All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense. I don't know what you're saying. Don't say what? Would I go? I don't know what you're saying. Say what? Would I go? All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense.
I don't know what you're saying, though. Yeah. Came in 88 with a dream, oh so bright-eyed. They knew right away, sink or swim, there's no lifelines. Cutting their teeth on the move, nobody's filling these shoes. Balling on a budget at the Golden Arch, super size number 2. Cash, way that the world ain't budging. Gotta make a power move. Deep in the darkest dungeons, I'm digging up my own route. Hey, hands on the plow. Keep my head down. Sweat on my brow. Don't make a sound. Pay my dues now. This is the pride of a man. Step in the ground, I'm counting my blessings, aggressively pushing the boundaries off of my family. Came to this land. A dream in my hand. All of that changed when life decided to switch on my plan. Yeah, tell me now. How did we get so low? Yeah, tell me now. How did we get so bruised? Yeah,
Tell me now.
how could it be so rude? Swear I'ma lose my cool. I won't be made as a fool.
I'm tired of it treating. All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense. I don't know.
So I'm not sure if I did the best job of filming that, but that last scene was me getting reunited with this sweet thing right here, Miss Tabor, my puppy. This is my husband, Sam. If you've been watching from the beginning, you've seen him before he did the first 100 miles with me, and he's editing all of these vlogs. So if you like the edits, definitely give him some love in the comments. But yeah, he's just popped in for a visit here in Kennedy Meadows since we were taking a 00, and his little treat to me was to bring her. And I haven't seen her since I started, so it was such a special time. This was our first 00, which was really nice. So we actually had 2 days to get all organized and make the necessary changes to head into the Sierra. But yeah, really kind of crazy to think that that was the end of the desert section. We're heading into the Sierra tomorrow morning, and I'm just so grateful. That last section was so beautiful, a little less eventful than some of the earlier sections, but beautiful nonetheless. And I just want to say, just a massive thank you to all the trail angels in general, but especially those who are keeping the caches going on some of those long waterless stretches. This stretch could have been a lot more stressful and eventful in a bad way if it weren't for that support. So just want to send them a huge thank you.
And yeah, that's all I have for you for this week's episode. Next week, headed into the Sierra, which I'm super excited about. So as always, if you liked this episode, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Still a lot of trail to be hiked. See you next week.